Welcome back, friends, to another thrilling episode of The Occult Detective. I'm your host, Bob Freeman, and today I thought I would stay in keeping with recent videos and show you some more of my collections of young adult fare. Now, we've already seen my Hardy Boys and some of my Nancy Drew collection. Today I thought I would show off first the Three Investigators. We're just going to take a nice little stroll through the covers because they are spectacular. Now, I had a lot of trouble finding these when I was a kid. And for whatever reason, they just weren't as popular in my area as perhaps other parts of the country. What few I did read, I absolutely adored. There were only a couple of copies in our school library. And just love that art, evocative. Of course, you know, Alfred Hitchcock was a legend, and putting his name on these young adult mysteries was a no-brainer. Now here we get into some of the better editions. A little more captivating. I spent a lot of time watching Alfred Hitchcock's various TV and movie events, loving them, of course. And so I wanted to read the Three Investigators in full. I just never was lucky enough to come across them when I was young. So stumbling upon them later as an adult was a real thrill. And they're still kind of hard to come by, and when you do find them, they're usually priced way above what you're willing to spend. And that is unfortunate, but I have been lucky, as you can see. These are just lovely books. And there you have it. That is my collection of the Three Investigators. And very much in line with the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. But they tend to have a little bit more of a, paranormal bent. And that, of course, excites me very much. So now I would like to show you the Dana Girls. Now these two were written by Carolyn Keene, so coming out of the same pool of authors who worked on Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. And the Dana Girls, I did read quite a few of them when I was young. I owned just a couple, and here's a few of those. And much like the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, it was always the cover art that drew me in. And that's why they have such a nostalgic pull to this day, is they're just, beautiful works of art. And that's why I have them, is I like to pull them out and be inspired in my own art and writing, and these do a wonderful job. Now, this series that I'm getting ready to show you now has just glorious late 60s, early 70s artwork that really looks like something out of the fashion magazines of the time. Just lovely. I mean, just look at that. And, the titles are always very evocative too. The Ghost in the Gallery, The Winking Ruby Mystery. But just very, very stunning. The artwork is just magnificent. And these are just like, they're fun. Certainly geared towards a female audience perhaps, but I never really catered to that kind of thinking. I grew up reading Gothic romances and never thought anything of it. Books were books, boys or girls. And I love a good mystery. And these in particular are just that. Never quite reached the popularity that Nancy Drew did, or the Hardy Boys for that matter. But they were certainly in the same vein, and I liked them every bit as much. They just weren't around as much as the others. This is one of my favorites, Mystery of the Stone Tiger, and that's just, oh, look at that cover. That's great. And I'm lucky enough to have a double of it. And then I have one of the older, no dust jacket, but these have great end papers. Look at that. So there you have it. Dana Girls, 3 investigators. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll talk again real soon.